Curtis, one thing that I do want to talk about is diverse talent as
Hmm.
well, right?
Hmm.
And um, we've had a lot of discussions off camera about diverse talent and navigating this industry just on its own, or navigating any industry on its own.
Hmm.
Um, so, in your mind and in your experience and in your research, um, how can talent and diverse talent navigate and thrive and succeed in a moment like this?
Hmm. Yeah, I think one of the parts where Brooks kind of left off in terms of talking about this experience people are having of like, what do I value, and kind of these big questions of where do I want to go in my career as somebody who's really well established are super important. I think also for those earlier career people, and of course when we're talking diverse talent, we're not always talking about early career.
Hmm.
There's an important piece to be said there, but excuse me. But that socialization is a really big issue, that is really important to, as you know, sort of keeping it real pithy, finding your people, where sometimes potentially this new model that we're working in might be both an asset and a barrier to that happening. It might be an asset, this work from home, this more flexible culture where we don't have the embedded patterns of every day everybody is in the building. So sometimes that might be an asset in terms of we have the free time to say, hey, you know what, like, Doug, do you want to meet up in the park real quick and talk about this project? And we can do that potentially. We find out that we live a lot closer than we think. There was somebody who I was actually thinking about hiring in my last role, that literally lives directly across the park from me, and I had no idea she was right there. And it was like, yeah, this is a critically important hire that it's going to be hard to find somebody else with those skills. Hell yeah, I'll meet you in the park and talk to you. So
Right.
so that socialization is so critical, and this flexible culture can foster that. But as I kind of alluded to with my experience of doing my doctorate, that I'm so grateful that we had the chance to be in person first to build a relationship before dispersing. I can't imagine how hard it would be to do what we did without that in person connection first.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it can be both an asset and a challenge.
Chris, I think that's really fascinating. And I think I'm pretty sure it was the Sunday New York Times.
Mm.
They were talking about a 2-year study, and it was a huge sample size, in talking about employees and in what makes people happiest. You know, where are people happiest in a employment situation? And ironically, remote work, people showed up as the least happy overall.
Mm-hmm.
And followed by kind of the medium, if you will, were all in person, right? So the winner was hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exactly what you're talking about. Full remote, no social connection. We worked with a lot of employers who onboarded, first time or certainly junior employees during the pandemic. And if you believe, statistic in the Wall Street Journal, 60% of people who were onboarded during the pandemic didn't make it through the first 14 months.
Wow. Yep.
So it was a loss for the person taking the job, and it was certainly a loss for the client.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a real thing. So I think this human connection, we're social animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a core place of our growing, making social connections. Where do junior people find mentors?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that hand that lifts them up? And it's tough to do that, on the Hollywood squares like we're on right now.